Hello children, today we are starting with another topic of fourth chapter, that is elements and compound. Okay, so before starting with this topic elements and compound, let's just recollect yourself by the concept of atoms and molecules that already we have done in the previous video, but then also we should just have a recap on atoms and molecules. Okay, so let's start with atoms. What do you mean by atom? Already we have seen that atom is what? Atom is the smallest particle of an element. Okay, means element is made up of smallest particle known as atom. Okay, so what we can say, an atom is the smallest particle of element that take part in chemical reaction. Okay, that has the capability to take part in chemical reaction, and that's why we can say that it is the means atom is the building blocks of matter. Okay, now what is molecule? These atoms, when they are combining together, when they are bounding together, that time they are known as molecules. Okay, so how can we define molecule? A combination of atom is called molecule. Okay, so molecule is the what? Molecule is the smallest particle of substance. Smallest particles of what? Smallest particles of elements, smallest particles of compound. Okay, which has the property of that substance and can exist in free state. So how can we define atoms? Atoms are what? Atoms are the smallest particle of element. Okay, and what are molecules? Molecules are when two or more atoms are bounded together, two or more compounds are combining together, at that time it is known as molecule. For example, if I am saying, just look at this diagram. Here it is written hydrogen and deuterium. Okay, see, in hydrogen, one proton is there, and outside the nucleus there is a shell, electronic shell or orbit we can say, in which electrons are revolving. So one electron is there. Okay, so it is what? It is atom. By this atom, when this is combining with another hydrogen, or when it is combining with another oxygen, at that time it is forming molecule. For example, see, in the example of molecule, I have given the example of water molecule, in which two hydrogen atom is there, which are combining together with oxygen, and in that way it is forming water molecule. Got it? So this is the difference between atoms and molecules. Okay, now this atom, you already have studied that this atom, if we see its structure, it is having nucleus. In that nucleus, proton and neutron is present. Okay, and around the nucleus there is an orbit in which electrons are revolving. Okay, and if we want to write atoms or elements, what we have to do? We have to write its symbol at the lower side. At the lower side, what we are doing? At the lowermost side, what we are doing? At left hand side, we are writing its atomic number, and above side we are writing its, on left hand side we are writing its atomic mass. This all we have studied in the last video. Now again and again I am saying that electron is revolving in an orbit. So what is that orbit? What is that electron shell? Actually, you should know there is some rule to fulfill all those electronic shells. In first shell, that rule is actually, it is 2n square. In first shell, it has to be fulfilled with 2 electrons. Second shell, it can fulfill up to 8 electrons. Third shell, 18 electrons. And fourth shell, 32 electrons. Okay, but the most important thing is that if any element have the outermost shell filled with 8 electrons, that means that element is stable. Okay, that means that element is stable. So we, as per the rule, we know in the first shell 2 electrons should be there, second shell 8 electrons, third shell 18, fourth shell 32. But if the outermost shell is having 8 electrons in it, so we can understood that okay, the ninth one will go to the next shell. That means if it is 8 electron is there in the shell, that means the element is stable. Okay, so what is electronic shell or electron shell or orbit? It is the shell in which, outside the nucleus, in which electrons are revolving. Okay, so this valence shell has the capacity, maximum capacity. You just look at this table, you will be able to understand. In the first shell, its maximum capacity is 2 and valence capacity is also 2, right? In the second shell, see, its maximum capacity is 8. Obviously, its valency capacity will also be 8. In third shell, its maximum capacity is 18, but if that third shell is filled with 8 electrons, it means it is stable. Okay, so its valence capacity is 8. Okay, and in fourth shell also, its absolute capacity, or we can say its maximum capacity is 32, but its valence capacity is 8. That means if fourth shell also it is filled with 8 electrons, it means the element is stable. Got it? And we all know what is valence electrons. In the outermost shell or in the outermost orbit, the number of electrons which are present, it is known as valence electrons. Okay. So by this we come to know that there is an octet rule in which says that valence shell normally holds 8 electrons. Okay, and if 8 electrons are there, that means that element is stable. Okay, that is what octet rule said. Clear? Now let's start with elements and compounds. We have seen what is atoms, what is molecules, everything we have come to know. Okay, now these atoms are only combining together, they are forming molecules. Now what is exactly elements? If we will see that, so we will say that this matter is divided into three types actually: elements, compounds and mixture. Mixture is not there in your syllabus, but elements and compounds we have to study. So what are elements? Elements are the substance which cannot split into two or more simpler substances, or we can say elements are the pure substances made up of atoms. And what type of atoms? Same type of atoms. Okay, what are elements? Elements are having atoms of same type. And in brief, if we want to see the compounds, compounds are what? When elements are combining together, they are forming compounds. This is just I can say it is an outline definition of elements, that elements are having what? It has atoms of the same, means it has atom that is of same type. Okay, for example, hydrogen element, oxygen element, right? So in hydrogen element, what is there? It is having the hydrogen only. Okay, it is having the atom of hydrogen only. Similarly, oxygen, it is having the atoms of oxygen only. But if we see compound, then we will say water. Water is having 2 molecules of hydrogen and one molecule of oxygen. So it means it is having the combination of hydrogen and oxygen. That's why it is having the atom of hydrogen as well as oxygen, right? So that's why it is compound. Okay, now let's see one by one. What are elements exactly? If we want to define element, what we will say, that an element is a substance which cannot be split up or which cannot be break down into two or more simpler substances. Okay, what are elements? Elements is a substance which cannot be broken down into two or more simpler substances. Means whether we are chemically treating it by applying heat, light, electric energy, whatever it is, but we cannot break elements. Okay, by means of chemical methods, by means of heat, light, electric charge, electric energy, whatever it is, we cannot divide or we cannot split, or we can say we cannot break elements into simpler substances. Okay, so what we will say, an element is made up of atoms which are having same atomic number. Got it? For example, hydrogen is an element. Okay, now if we want to split hydrogen, it will not break down into simpler substances. Got it? And similarly, oxygen is an also element, right? Because it cannot be broken down into simpler substances. Whatever atoms of oxygen are having in this, means in oxygen whatever atoms are present, they all have same atomic number. Okay, means see, just think properly that element is what? Various atoms are combining together and they are forming elements. Okay, for example, in oxygen, various oxygen atoms are there and they are forming elements. So only one kind of atom is there, that is oxygen, and that oxygen is having the same atomic number, that is 8. So that's what we want to say, that elements cannot be broken down into simpler substances. Why? Because they are made up of atoms which have same atomic number. Got it? So what we will say, that elements are substances which cannot be split up into simpler substances. Okay, and they have the atoms of the same atomic number. Clear? Now these elements are the building blocks of matter. Okay, there are approximately 100 plus, like 103 elements known today. Okay, there are about 103 to 109 elements are presently known. Okay, and this is all about element. Now if we want to see symbols of elements, we all know that in order to write the chemical reaction conveniently, each element has to be represented by symbols, right? No elements have same symbol. Got it? Clear? So what I want to say, in order to write chemical reactions conveniently, what we want, each element is represented by a separate symbol. Okay, the symbol of element can be the first letter of the element, or first letter and another letter of the element, or Latin name of the element. Means what I want to say, the symbol of element can be the first letter of the element. For example, carbon, nitrogen, fluorine, oxygen. See, carbon, it's started with C, so its symbol is capital C. Nitrogen, its symbol is capital N. Fluorine, its symbol is capital F. Right, like that. Either it will be like that, or it can be the first alphabet and the another alphabet. For example, cobalt. In cobalt, first alphabet and second alphabet. So first alphabet you are writing with the capital letter and second with the small letter. Similarly, calcium, C and A. Right? Bromine, B and R. Magnesium, capital M, small g. So like that, elements, when we are writing its symbol, it can be the first letter of the alphabet, or first letter and the another letter, or the Latin name. Now what does this Latin name means? For example, there are some elements which are derived from some Latin name. Okay, for example, copper. Copper is derived from its Latin name, that is cuprum. Okay, that's why its symbol is Cu. Gold. Gold is derived from its Latin name, that is aurum, and its symbol is Au. Lead is derived from its symbol plumbum, and its symbol is Pb. Mercury is derived from its Latin name hydrargyrum, and its symbol is Hg. Potassium by kalium, and its symbol is K, capital A. Silver by argentum, its symbol is Ag. Sodium is derived from its Latin name natrium, and its symbol is capital Na. And tin is derived from its Latin name stannum, and its symbol is Sn. Okay, so in that way we will come to know that symbol is what? Symbol is the convenient method of representing element. Okay, so the symbol of element either will be the first letter of the element, or first letter and the another letter of the element, or it can be the Latin name of any element. Right? Clear by this? This is clear. Now if we see valence electrons, we all know whatever electrons are present in the outermost shell, that is known as valence electrons, right? And these valence electrons should be 8. If it is less than 8, we have to see that we have to complete its octet up to 8 electrons. Okay, because when it will be filled by 8 electrons, then only what happens, that elements can be stable. For example, magnesium. Okay, I am taking just an example of magnesium. Magnesium, that is, its symbol is capital M, small g, Mg, right? Now if we see that magnesium is there, its atomic number is 12. Now if we want to write its electronic configuration, what we will write? 282, right? 2 plus 8, 10, 10 plus 2, 12. 282. That means in the outermost shell, how many electrons are present? Yeah, it is 2 electrons. That means its valence electrons are 2, right? Now to fulfill its outermost shell, to make itself stable, what it want to do? It will either lose electrons or it will gain electrons, right? What it will do? It will lose electrons, because losing electrons requires less energy, whereas if it wants to take 6 electrons, it will take more and more amount of energy, right? So what it will do? It will lose electrons so that it can produce, or it can give less energy. Okay, so it is giving electron. Okay, so if, always remember, if they are losing electron, it will be positive. If it is gaining electron, it will be negative. So because it is losing electron, so its valency will be plus 2. Okay, so that's what they want, that's what I want to say, that what is valence electrons? The number of electrons present in the outermost shell is the valence electrons, and it should be always 8. If it is not 8, the element has to gain electron or lose electron, and by gaining and losing electron, the elements are getting valency. Okay. Now, let's come to compounds. What exactly compound is? What I have said, that compounds are what? When elements are combining together, they are forming compounds. Okay. So, how we will define compound? A compound is a substance made up of two or more elements, right? A compound is a substance which is formed by the combination of two or more elements, and in which these elements are always combined in a fixed proportion by weight. For example, water. In water, what happens? Two elements of hydrogens are present and one oxygen is present, right? So if we see its weight by proportion is 1:8. That means it proves that always they are combined in a fixed proportion by weight. Okay, and compounds are made up of two or more elements. Similarly, for example, let's take an example of common salt. Common salt is what? Sodium chloride, that is NaCl. Okay, it's also a compound because it is made up of two elements of sodium and chlorine, right? So in that way we come to know that compounds are what? Compounds are combined form of elements. When two or more elements are combining together, they are forming compounds. Okay, now just think whether compounds can be separate by means of chemical or by means of heat or by means of electricity. Yeah, obviously, because it is made up of elements. When it is degrading, when it is broken out, it breaks down into its constituent element. But why we are not able to break down elements? Because elements are made up of same type of atoms which are having same atomic number, right? But compounds are what? Compounds are made up of elements, two or more elements. So when we are breaking it, so it is converted into, it is broken down into its constituent element, right? So this is an example of sodium chloride. Sodium, that salt we are taking, chlorine we are taking, and by combining together it is forming sodium chloride, right? Now, this compound is actually, we are saying it is the molecule. Means the smallest piece of compound is having all the properties of compound, and that is called molecule. Clear? Okay, so what we have seen, when atoms are combining together, they are forming molecule. So whenever we are breaking compound, it is producing small pieces, and that pieces are what? That pieces are molecules which are formed by the elements only, right? Correct? Now let's start with ion and radicals. Okay, till here we have seen that what is atom, how we can write its structure, proton, electrons and neutrons, what are valence electrons, what is octet rule, how can we fulfill its make any element stable. That's all we have seen. Okay, now let's start with another topic of this, in continuation only. It is ions and radicals. Okay, now what are ions? Just now I have said, to complete its octet or to make itself stable, what elements are doing? They will either lose electrons or gain electrons. Okay, so if it will lose electron, it will develop what? Yeah, positive charge. If it is gaining electron, it will develop negative charge. Okay, these electric charges that are developed on the element or on atoms are known as ion. Got it? So what are ions? An ion is an atom or the group of atom that has positive or negative charge in it. Okay, what are ions? An ion is an electrically charged atom. Got it? For example, if I will say oxygen, oxygen is having 8 electrons, right? So its electronic configuration will be 2, 6. Correct? So what it will do to fulfill itself or to make itself stable, what it will do? It will take 2 electrons. It cannot lose 6 electrons. It will take 2 electrons. By taking 2 electrons, so its valency will be, yeah, -2. So what charge developed there? -2. So that is an ion. O2 minus or O minus 2 is an ion. So whenever there is a charge on element, there is either positive or negative charge, we are saying that element is an ion. So how ions are formed? Ions are formed by gaining or losing electron. And why elements are losing or gaining electrons? To make itself stable. Got it? Now here I have taken the example of sodium ion. Sodium ion is, its atomic number is 11. What it is doing? It is having 281, right? So it is having in last shell it is having one electron. What it will do to make itself stable? It will lose electron. So by losing electron, what it will get? What charge it will get? Yeah, plus. So its charge will be +1. Okay, so what we will write? Na is converting into sodium ion by losing one electron. It is getting Na +1 charge. Clear? Okay, like that. Now if I want to explain chloride ion, what it will do? It's having atomic number of 17, right? So what will be its electronic configuration? 287, correct? So what it will do? It will take one electron to make itself stable. Taking one electron means, yeah, -1, correct? So it will develop negative charge. So what we will write? Chlorine conversion to chlorine ion, it is Cl to Cl -1, right? So chlorine gets converted into chlorine ion, that is Cl -1. Clear? So in that way we are writing it. Okay, so what we are saying, both ions have full valence shell containing maximum number of electrons possible. That means whenever there is either less or more electrons, it should be 8. Whether it is less, it has to lose electron, or if it is like 6 or 7, it has to gain electrons. Okay, why they are losing and gaining electrons? To make itself stable. Okay, now that's why whatever positive charges are developed on the element, that is known as cation. If whenever elements are developing positive charge by losing electron, it is known as cation, and when elements are gaining electron, okay, they are developing negative charge, and it is known as anion. Okay, now there are some elements which are getting positive or negative charge, but there are few elements which are not having which are not required to take any electron or lose any electron. Why it is so? There, for example, helium, its atomic number is 2, right? Its atomic number is 2. Clear? So in helium, if we see its electronic configuration, it is 2. So whether it will lose electron? No, obviously no, because it is already stable. It don't want to make itself unstable, so it will not take any electron, right? Similarly, neon is having the atomic number of 10. So what will be its electronic configuration? Yeah, it is 2,8. So whether it will take electron? No, it will not take electron, and neither it will take nor it will lose electrons, right? So they are not taking electrons. Such type of elements are not taking electrons, not losing electrons. So at that time their valency is 0. Okay, and such elements like helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, these elements are known as noble gas elements, or we can say inert gas elements. Okay, so these helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, these are all noble gas, or we can say inert gas elements. Why inert gas? Because they are already stable, they don't lose or gain electron. Okay, now just have a recap how we have to write the symbols for ion. Whatever element you are taking, write first is symbols. For example, calcium you are taking. Calcium, what is its symbol? Ca, capital C, small a. Okay, now just look at its electronic configuration. What is electronic configuration? Its atomic number is 12. So 2, 8. So no, it is 20. Sorry, its atomic number is 20. So what will be its electronic configuration? 2, 8, 8. Yeah, 2882, correct na? Yeah, so 2882. So what it will do? It will lose 2 electrons because it cannot take 6 electrons. So it is losing 2 electrons, and by losing 2 electrons, which charge it will get? Yeah, positive charge. Positive what? Positive 2. So calcium we will write Ca. Okay, and at the above side, at this as a superscript, you will write Ca2 plus. Okay, as a superscript you will write at the right corner of the element Ca2 plus. Okay, clear? Similarly, sodium also I have explained, chloride I am explained. Okay, so whenever there is a formation of ions, means anions means negative charge, right? So for example, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, those which are forming negative charge on it, in them we are writing IDE. Okay, like nitrogen we will write nitride, oxygen oxide, fluorine fluoride, phosphorus phosphide, sulfur sulfide, chlorine chloride, bromine bromide, iodine iodide. Why we are writing IDE? Because they are all anions. That means always remember, for writing the name of the anions we have to add IDE. Got it? And there are some elements, this is the exceptional case, there are some elements which are showing more than one type of valency. Okay, when they are showing more than one type of valency, we are saying they are having variable valency. Okay, for example, some are showing having only one valency, they are known as univalent, and some are showing more than one. Okay, more than one valency, they are known as multivalent, or we can say having variable valency. Got it? So by this we come to know that cations and anions, if we want to see anions, so I want to see ions, they are of two types, cations and anions, and these ions are only known as radicals. Okay, so there are two types of radicals, acidic radical and basic radicals. Like ions are of two types, cation and anion. Similarly, radicals are of two types, acidic radical and basic radical. Okay, positive charge, when any element is getting positive charge, that means it is cation. So such elements are coming under acidic radical. Okay, like magnesium ion, Mg2+. Okay, so magnesium ion is the acidic radical. And elements which are getting charge, negative charge, they are known as anions. Okay, clear? Now, just now I have told that there are some elements which are showing more than one type of valency, and such type of elements are saying that they have variable valency. Okay, so for example, tin, lead, copper, mercury, iron, right? These are having more than one type of valency. Got it? Clear? Now on the basis of this valency only, what we have done, we have just divided into two parts. One which is having lower valency, it is ended with OUS. Okay, and which is having higher valency, it is ended with IC. For example, copper. Okay, copper, its symbol is Cu. It is showing two types of valency, either one valency or two valency. So for one valency we will write Cu plus, that is cuprous, and for two valency we will write cupric. For the lower valency we will write Us, for the higher valency we will write ic. For example, iron. Okay, iron is showing the valency of 2 and 3. For 2 what we will write? Ferrous. For 3 what we will write? Ferric. Got it? Similarly for mercury also, mercury is existing in two valency form, 1 and 2. For 1 we will write mercurous, for 2 we will write mercuric. For tin also, that is stannous. So for 2 and 4, it is showing two types of valency, 2 and 4. For 2 we will write stannous, for 4 we will write stannic. Means, what does it say? That for lower valency we are ending it with us, OUS, and for higher valency we will write IC, that is cupric, cuprous, cupric, right? So this is all about elements, compounds, and valence electrons, how we are calculating valency and how we are naming them. Okay, what is the difference between acidic and basic radical? That's all we have done with this topic. Clear?